All right, I think we are live. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the show. It's been a minute since we've gone live. We've done a few interviews lately, very great interviews. I recommend going back and checking those out. And we had a last minute cancellation this week. So we decided to just go live and cover all of the current events because there is no shortage of things to talk about right now. So we're going to dive deep into some of this stuff. We're going to put out some disclaimers before we get into some of these wild theories. And we want to just make sure that we come at this responsibly and from a healthy and just, have a healthy approach and make sure that we are basically covering our tracks and not just haphazardly sharing this information. We basically just want to present stuff to you guys and let you decide ultimately. And we've compiled a lot of stuff to go through, and it's going to be interesting. And hopefully we'll end this on a light note, on a lighter note. But Aaron, how you doing over there?
I'm good. I'm good.
So yeah, let me make sure. Does it look like we're live? Can you tell, Aaron?
Yes, we are.
Okay, cool. So, oh wait, I need to mute that. One sec. I'll just pause that. Anyway, okay, let me go back here. Let me find you. All right, so yeah, there is a ton of stuff happening right now. And, I'm just going to go through some of my notes, just some talking points for tonight. First of all, I think it's funny. This is the first time I've woken up on 9/11 and haven't seen 9/11 trending. There's no, I mean, no one's sharing the Twin Towers stuff today, which is understandable considering what happened yesterday with Charlie Kirk. And I'm just going to kind of go through some of the notes and some of the bullet points of what we're going to cover today and some more. But, we're going to come at this from a level-headed approach and help you guys understand PSYOPs and what that looks like from both sides. Discrepancies in the footage. We're going to, cover some of that and kind of analyze what we think is going on here. Deep fake slash AI or stunt, spotters and hand signals, sleeper assassins. Was Charlie aware? Was he tipped off? At least, he may have had some inclination that, there was a threat. Israel connections, Amazon books, the leaked news report 19 hours early, politically charged narratives surrounding this, promoting fear, martial law, Q deltas, optics, political theater, think tanks, and storyboarding, holographic reality, disrupting the frequency. Those are my notes. So we're going to go through all that stuff today and some, Aaron. I don't think you've ever texted me as much as you have in one day, all the stuff you've been researching. So I know you've
Well,
been, yeah.
it's because like we had so little time to between when that happened and this and my feed is just getting flooded with so much. I'm just like screenshotting and sending you the links to like as much stuff as just that I'm coming across it.
Right.
I think that's why, because it was just kind of a quick barrage, and we had very little time to prepare. So I'm like, you know what? Let's make sure we're both seeing the same stuff, so we're on the same page.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's good. It's good. I mean, there's so much, it was almost impossible to keep up with, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm glad you were sharing that stuff because, like, I was doing my own stuff over here and I'm like looking through this stuff. I'm in all these group chats and people are sending stuff. So I try to compile what I think is the most important stuff to cover. And I guess that's where we're going to keep our focus. But
Hmm.
the one thing which I put, if anyone read it on social media, on the post on social media. I'm going to read this guy, Ben Werman's tweet, I guess you can call it, his X post. So, and this can be our disclaimer as well. He says, "All right, so same disclaimer that everyone else is adding. It's too early to know what the fuck happened and what the details are, as none of us ex keyboard warriors were there ourselves. It's true. None of us were there. We just have the only thing we have to go by is what we see in our feed and what's coming across the mainstream media. So, this is also a reminder to turn your emotions off when digging for the truth. Nobody's trying to hurt any feelings here. We're all doing our best to decipher the information we have, which sometimes requires us to dig well past initial reactions and remain open minded to all possibilities, no matter how strange they may seem. So, I just think that's an important disclaimer and a healthy approach to any type of research because you have to pull your emotions aside when you're digging for the truth. And we've learned that because a lot of this stuff is dark, especially when there's a political assassination. We don't want to downplay the tragedy because we understand that this is a very tragic moment, but it does seem to be planned. And we're going to go over that. And it's just like 9/11. There's a lot of information building up to this, a lot of things building up to this that would indicate that people in the know were well aware of this event ahead of time. So, that being said, we do want to send our best to Charlie's family and anyone involved and anyone who was injured because it is a very traumatic situation. And we're not trying to downplay it in any capacity. So, we just want to get that out of the way first. And Aaron, if you want to add to that before we move on.
Yeah, very well said. It was, whether you liked Charlie or not, whether you agreed with him or not, is should be irrelevant. Unfortunately, for many people, as I've seen over the last 24 hours, it's been a very interesting 24 hours. It's been, for me, I was never like a hardcore follower of Charlie, but I've seen some videos of him and some of his stuff, and I've heavily agreed with, I'd say at least 90% about of what I've heard him say. And he's seemed to be a very an amazing figure out there. Even though he's in the political sphere, he's actually a genuine person. He's not a fake politician puppet like a lot of people in politics. He's a real human being. You can tell he's out there trying to make change, trying to do what's right. And I saw him constantly say he's trying to just have a debate, have a discussion so that we don't just start hating each other, so that we don't just start separating completely from each other, and then violence happens, which ironically is how he just got taken out. And it just killed me to see, when I got the news, when I saw it yesterday, I was like, oh my gosh.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's been a heavy last 24 hours for me as well. That being said, so first off, thoughts and prayers and sending love and everything to his family and children, and all of his loved ones, and everyone who was affected deeply by the loss of Charlie Kirk. Um, and you know what? It's I can already tell it's a massively catalyzing event. Um, there's obviously, just like everything in the world, when you go deep enough down the rabbit hole, you start to see how much is fake and staged, and just completely everything we think is, not everything, but the vast majority of what we think is completely real is very much not real in the
Right.
world that we live
Right.
in. That's just unfortunately the nature of how the world has been for quite a while now. So anytime something this big happens, people that have already reached that level, like you and I, the first thought is maybe not the first thought, but quickly you think, okay, is this a genuinely organic event, or is there something else going on here? Or was it an organic? Did the event happen, but was it caused by some entity with an agenda, false flag, etc.?
Right.
And those are kind of the two big things I've seen, I've seen combing through social media, combing through the internet, is obviously you see the people that don't even think that way, which is totally understandable. They've never, had any reason to believe their world isn't 100% that, at face value, which I totally understand, but, fortunately it's not the case. But then there's all the people that are like, okay, here's all the proof, and look at this, look at that, look at this. It's staged, it's fake. Gotta say, there's a lot of stuff there. I don't know. I'm just gonna say it could be, but I don't know, and I'm not gonna 100% say yes, or even like I don't even want to go there yet. The other thing that I will lean more towards is that it does appear that this was a professional hit, that this was not a random, like the Kennedy assassination, like so many things, like, oh, it's the lone gunman, it's this random person. it does appear that this was a sniper that was highly professional, highly trained that took him out. And then if that's the case, then you got to ask who hired that person. Who is that person working for? What's the agenda? Why did a professional person take him out?
Right.
And there's evidence tying, so he used to be very pro-Israel up until very recently. And I don't know if he ever fully became not pro-Israel, but up until very recently, he was, he was very Christian, and most Christians tend to, because they're told that the modern day Israel is the Israel of the Bible, and like, oh, if you're Christian, you have to support Israel, and they don't understand what we understand, so then they just think, oh yeah, I have to fully support Israel, and everything they do is great, and everything we're doing with them is great, and that couldn't be further from the truth. But anyways, up until very recently, he was very pro Israel, very like pushing, like defending them in the mainstream. And then very recently he started, I don't know what caused it. I don't know if he did his own research or somebody came to him and it's like, "Hey man, you gotta understand what's really going on with the modern day Israel and who's the people running the country, not the people of the country. Very different things, right?" I don't know what caused it, but he started being like throwing questions out there. Just questions mostly.
Right.
Questioning like, "Wait a second. I'm supporting Israel. I'm supporting blah blah blah." And they're giving me all this backlash and they're attacking me still and people are attacking me. And he was like things weren't adding up, you could tell in his mind, and he was starting to publicly give a little pushback there and starting to ask questions, starting to a little bit dig under the surface. And then apparently very recently he announced or he said publicly that he was afraid that Israel was going to take him out. He said that publicly. He said he was afraid that he was going to be killed because of that, just because of that, I guess. And shortly after that, this is what happens. It looks like a professional hit.
Right.
And there's many other details that seem to tie. There's many Q drops and other things that seem to
So,
this as
right.
well. We'll get into all that.
Yeah, exactly. Well said. Thank you for providing that background. Yeah, so I would agree here. I'm reading some of the comments too. Like a false flag, 100%. In some capacity, this is a false flag, and meaning that it was planned and there's an agenda behind it. At least there was. Who knows if things went according to plan? But I would say that we could call this could be labeled a false flag.
Hmm.
That doesn't mean that he didn't die and it didn't actually happen. It just
Right.
means that it was staged in some capacity. So interestingly enough, somebody in the comments here said they made a martyr out of him. His wife posted a few days ago about good actors, so they are safe and fine, which some people claim that. So this is what's interesting.
I hope
Um,
so. I mean,
some of
I hope that's the case.
some of the psychics and intuitives that I know in my life have all kind of independently tapped in and felt that he's still alive. Like he's not dead. He might be a witness protection. He's still alive. But then on the other side of that coin, I'm seeing people online who I also trust as intuitives and who, like Dr. Charnel, who uses her quantum biofeedback machine to detect the scalar waves of an individual, and she put him into it, and it wasn't detecting any frequency for his like a life signature for him. So her device told her that he's gone. Other people are intuitively picking up that he's gone. On the other side of that coin, we have other intuitives and psychics that are saying no, they're feeling him still around. Now, could that be in spirit or not? But what I think is interesting is that we should consider both. If he was in witness protection, how would that even be possible? Because this seems to be a real event with real people in the crowd. Um, Definitely, it was a professional hit by a marksman. It was a shot from 200 yards. There was spotters behind him, and you can see them doing the hand signals like a catcher in a baseball game. I mean, that was obvious. Now, when the
Mhm.
bullet hits him, the footage gets really wonky, which we know. There's the ring discrepancy, which people are saying it was a hinged ring, and the ring just became unhinged. The F on his shirt literally disappears and moves to the other side. And on top of that, like it just warps the footage, like warps, and it's really interesting. So when I first saw it, I'm
His,
like, that's
his
correct,
hair like warps down in a weird way. Like that's
right.
not, yeah, it would never happen to.
So when I first saw it, I'm like, okay, deep fake. But then obviously there's more, and there's real pictures and footage of the whole zoomed out crowd, and everything's real. So I'm like, how did they pull this off? Okay. These are the questions we have to ask if he is somehow still alive in witness protection. Was this a body double? Was it somebody with a mask? Was it whatever? Is there a technology involved far beyond anything we can comprehend? We can only speculate. So we're not going to jump to any conclusions. But if he is in witness protection or still alive, like some people are claiming, then we have to have an explanation on how they played this out. And I think that's important because we can't just go like haphazardly jumping to conclusions, even though sometimes it may be obvious to people who have been researching for a long time that there's a lot more to this than meets the eye. So I don't know how it would work, but I also wonder too, like how many people would agree here in the audience that this is we're living in some sort of a simulation or a holographic projection of a reality and like nothing's actually physical. And I wonder that maybe we weren't looking at deep fake footage. What if when somebody gets shot like that and their life force is taken, it literally disrupts the frequency of the hologram that is making them appear to us through the illusion, right? And it disrupts the frequency of the hologram, and we're going to see weird anomalies that don't make sense. And maybe it's not even deep fake footage. Maybe it's actually, we have the camera lens, then we have the lens through our veiled perception, then our beliefs, and so we're looking at this through so many different lenses. And by the time it gets to our eyes and our visual cortex, what we actually see isn't maybe even what actually happened. Now I know I'm going really deep here, but what if like we're just seeing like the breakdown of the illusion in real time as he gets hit? This is how my mind works, when I look at this stuff. So we can't rule anything out, but definitely I would say the fact that we have the books that first of all, it was announced that he was dead like 19 hours prior by the New York Times, and there was a number of other things leading up to his death that would indicate that this was already known. It was a known event, so, and people in the know knew this was going to happen. Trump came out with a very polished speech. He was one of the first people to announce his death. The books that are available on Amazon today, people are saying, yeah, they're written by AI, but even if you write an AI book and you publish it, it takes 72 hours. Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah. Can I comment on that real quick?
Please, please.
Yeah, because that was one of the biggest red flags I noticed today. Um, and this is the check, put this in the bucket of evidence. It was a staged false flag. I mean, he really might have died. He might have really been shot, but it was a false flag uh, planned event. So, Tyler, you and I have both written books and specifically published them on Amazon, right? I'll speak for myself. It took 3 days, and I knew that going in because it said your book will take up. I think it said up to 72 hours. But doing my research, the vast majority of people that publish a book on Amazon, it takes like the minimum I saw was like 48 hours. That was the bare minimum, and that's but most people it takes closer to 72 hours, and that's what it took for my book to get published.
Right,
It took about 72 hours. It took about 3 days from the time I clicked publish. There's a review process. Amazon spends about 3 days, 2 days bare minimum, but 3 days usually about to review your book and then actually put it on the website, right? These books are already on Amazon. So even if they were written by AI, because people are like, oh, they're written by AI, you can do that in 3 minutes, whatever. Okay, fine. And they probably were written by AI, let's be honest. But even if that is true, that means whoever published those books would have had to click publish before the event happened,
right,
before the shooting even happened. They somehow knew about the shooting, put had an AI write a whole book about it, clicked publish like at least 24 hours before it even happened.
right.
How do you
Yeah.
explain that unless it's a
Well,
planned staged event?
and then here's where we need to understand. Somebody in the comments said this is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. Well, thank you for
Thank
spending
you for
time.
your opinion.
Yeah, thank you for at least checking out our podcast, and you don't have to like it. You can leave. Um, but no, this is where we need to understand psyops. So this is something that actually Billy Carson or a page of Billy Carson's posted, and I think he might have even got this from somewhere else. Either way, I'm going to read it because it's a great way it breaks down psyops. So complex psyops don't typically consist of a single narrative. They involve both a primary narrative and a counter narrative. People smart enough, people quote unquote smart enough to resist the primary narrative will often gravitate towards the counter narrative that is waiting to receive them. In fact, they will chuckle derisively at those who can't see through the primary narrative, all while being totally captured up themselves in the equally inorganic counter narrative. Both narratives are run by the same people and constitute a well crafted dialectical construct of roughly equally weighted narratives, deliberately placed in tension with one another. The schemes designed by those in power then move forward as the proponents of fake narratives expend energy fighting and blaming each other. And if you notice, they're already trying to tie this into some sort of a trans narrative, like the gun had some like trans markings on it, and like so basically they're immediately using these politically charged narratives to explain the shooter, and that's because what does that do? It allows them to fuel their agendas and it allows them to
Right.
further divide us and promote fear. And at the end of the day, like we have to zoom out and understand in some capacity, this is all staged and this is a movie because there's just all the evidence is there. You cannot, if you spend time connecting these dots and still walk away thinking this was just an organic event, then you're just I believe just simply choosing not to believe that there's something more going on, not just with the Charlie Kirk thing, but in this world. I mean,
Right.
people still think Michael Jackson's alive and Kennedy's alive and JFK Jr. and all these people, right? And
Prince. And, yeah.
Prince and Princess Diana, and
Princess Diana.
there is real information out there that would indicate that maybe Princess Diana and JFK Jr. are in witness protection. If you listen to what Sean David Morton shared before he was killed, there's a lot of information out there. So either way, we can't necessarily know, and we're not going to tell you guys because we don't know either. But it's worthy of considering all possibilities because, like I said, a psyop is there's two different narratives. So when we think we're like unpacking this and digging, past the psyop and the illusion and past the agenda and the narrative they want us to believe, we might just be unpacking and then literally diving right into another counter narrative that's also a psyop. So I imagine when I think about this, a think tank of who knows the puppet masters, whoever's pulling the strings in this reality, a think tank, and them literally storyboarding out this reality and what's going to happen in the political arena, on the global stage, and the world stage. I think that is potentially a real thing that we should consider. Like our reality is being storyboarded in some capacity, and we can't rule that out. I mean, I don't care if I sound crazy at this point because nothing makes sense anymore. So we have to start thinking outside the box.
Right. Well said.
Um,
And there's
Go
a
ahead.
difference between sounding crazy to someone who, you know, crazy, sounding crazy is relative to the person it's sounding crazy to, and that's based on what they've been exposed to, their own paradigm, their own programming, their own beliefs, uh, what the information they've seen or taken seriously. There's so many factors, right? Everyone has their own lens, right? So, and if you look at the world, like if you, that's why when you go down the rabbit hole, and obviously you got to be careful because there's so many fake rabbit holes. Over the last 10 years, especially, everything's gotten so muddied, and that's probably done intentionally because of the awakening. They're like, all right, we'll just muddy the water so people go down all these flat earth and all these fake rabbit holes that they think are real. And then it just like destroys everyone's credibility, right?
Right.
So you got to still use your discernment and still be very diligent. But like when you find out the truth about everything in our world and everything going on, what's considered crazy, if someone calls you crazy, that's a compliment because
Right.
because that's saying usually you're on the right track and that it's just like hitting up against their programming and they don't like it and they're like, "Oh, you must be crazy. You must be stupid. You must be racist. You must be throw out the ad hominem
Right.
attack. Throw out the slur. Throw out the whatever label I can label you to dismiss what you have to say and not have to even look into it or even consider it for a second,
Well,
having
and you know,
legitimacy, right?
something else here to consider just popped up. It's not my notes, but the whole Ukrainian woman on the bus that got attacked the other day,
Hmm.
I'm sure you guys heard that. And Trump made a post about bringing back the death penalty for these people, right? And I'm thinking about this. I'm like, I think what's happening right now is we're going to start seeing these low-level crimes and these insane people, these sleeper cell assassins, whatever, taking out these people and doing whatever they're programmed to do. Then enough people get outraged that everyone agrees that we should bring back the death penalty. And then we're going to start seeing political assassinations just like we did. And then now people are really going to get angry, especially when it's somebody like Charlie Kirk that nobody was really expecting. It's not Trump. It's not like this big politician, right? So
Right.
people get behind it. They're angry, like, yes, like, let's bring the death penalty back. And then we bring the death penalty back. Trump's already talking about it. Then what happens whenever the major players start getting arrested and the death penalty is in place? Then we have Putin right now pushing Trump to arrest Obama. I don't know if you've seen that, but he's literally basically telling Trump, like, if he doesn't arrest Obama, like, then he's not a competent leader because of whatever's going on with Obama's being exposed and all this stuff. So if somebody, if it turns out that somebody like Obama had committed these horrible crimes and the death penalty's in place, what I'm trying to say is like this could be them setting the stage and building this narrative, right? Building this reality in a sense to where we're shifting from the old guard into this new guard where things are changing. And whenever these big names start being arrested, because hopefully that's still on the horizon, hopefully that's still on the table, because you know there's a lot of crimes against humanity that and people need to know about, and they need to know who's been behind those agendas, like Dr. Fauci and Clintons and all that stuff. So I think they're also trying to set the stage for what's coming next, what's on the horizon. But I mean, that's just a side note, right? People are also saying if there's no better time for martial law than now. So this could be like setting up a martial law, civil war type of scenario. And if you go on X, literally like uh, Preston Alfonso Para, whoever that is, there's never been a better time for martial law. Another person. This is it. The pendulum has swung. Martial law incoming. This country will never be the same. Uh, Ashton Forbes. Trump right now has the ability to enact any radical policy he wants. That's what the left did today. He could shut down any news organization, social media site, or even call for martial law, and he will have overwhelming support. So everyone's calling for that now. So that may have been the reason that the catalyst, this may have been the catalyst to usher in something like that. So we always have to think, okay, what is the agenda? What's the bigger picture here? What are they setting the stage for? And
Right. Well,
yeah,
there's so many. Yeah, it's tough because yeah, it's really tough to pinpoint exactly like I like to keep a little bit more general of a stance as far as I know, like here's what I am confident enough in that there's something tied to Israel here. There's something tied to the deep state. But I think the White Hats very easily could have been in control of this as well as a chess move, because as we know, there's a shadow war going on between the dark and the light, and through proxy, the White Hats and the Cabal and the deep state, right? And there's probably ETs involved as well, it seems like. And there's advanced technology being used, and there's time viewing technology being used, and there's chess moves going on between the two. And uh, as I know and I know, everything we've seen points to the light has already won. Well, long like a while ago, that's been solidified. Now things just have to play out, right? Just like that interview, that Bill Wood interview, where he talks about back that interview's from January of 2012, by the way.
right, right,
Kerry Cassidy, way back in January 2012, Kerry Cassidy interviewed Bill Wood, and he said, and he's saying this from years before that his information is coming from, where he knew they were using this time viewing technology, the dark, the cabal, the dark side, for many decades, and that's how they're always able to stay multiple steps ahead of being taken out, or being able to know exactly what moves to do to gain power and control and manipulate. Well,
Right.
they lost that technology, they had it taken from them finally, and now apparently the white hats and the good side, the side that's let's just say the side that's for humanity, because nothing's black and white, no one's perfect, right? But there is a side that is very anti-humanity, and there's a side that is very pro-humanity. Let's just say that is the black and whiteness of it, right? So the side that's very
Right.
pro-humanity has this time viewing technology now. They're now able to use that to stop the dark side, the bad side, from basically winning, from enslaving everyone and doing all their the depopulation, everything, right? The transhumanist agenda, everything, right?
Right.
And anyways,
Well, yeah.
they're
So,
able to see what to do. They're like, okay, if we do this, if we do that, or if we let this happen that the dark is going to want to do or does, what's the consequences of that? And they're like, okay, now if we stop that from happening, what's going to happen? So,
right.
because think about it, everything that happens, especially on this big of a stage, especially on a massive stage like what just happened with Charlie Kirk, that is a catalyzing event. That is an event that has massive consequences, uh, physically, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, everything, right? You can already see that. Look at the last 24 hours. Look how many people are so emotional and so catalyzed to be like, you know what, I'm making a change in my life. You know what, I'm gonna love more. I'm gonna make a bigger effort to talk to the people around me and connect to the people around me. That in the good way. And then there's the bad way where you see mostly on the left, you see people literally cheering this on, just acting demonic and celebrating the death of someone that they disagreed with, and literally like laughing, making videos of themselves laughing and cheering and acting just very much not in a human way. Let's just say that. And it's kind of revealing. It's a catalyst alone in revealing everyone's true colors, which is a great thing because now, that's one of the things we're seeing in this awakening, and this as the energies raise up, as the awakening happens, as things get stirred up, everything that has been hidden beneath the surface previously or not as apparent is now becoming blatantly apparent, right? Is now
Right.
coming to, right? Well, that also goes for every person on the planet, because a lot of times you don't really know where somebody's at fully until something happens, and then you're like, oh shoot, like they just totally revealed their true colors. I can't associate with that person, or I can't be around these people anymore. Oh man, I got to quit my job, or I got to move, or I got to do this or that. That's actually a good thing because that's actually catalyzing people to step into their authenticity, step into their power,
Right.
and we're able to connect on a more authentic level and be like, hey, though I'm seeing hatred and violence and division and just demonic behavior from certain things, certain people, my reaction to that, my response is going to be to step more into love and step more into humaneness and more into kindness. And even if somebody hates me and calls me whatever or attacks me, I'm gonna love that person. That's what Jesus actually did. Like, if you want to follow
Right.
Christ, follow that, be that. If
Right.
you want to, if you're gonna use this event to go and be violent to other people, I don't care what you use to justify that. You're not following Christ. You're not following the example of true love, right?
Right.
You're
I mean,
doing you're falling exactly in the trap of the dark. That's what they want. That's what they would love for this event to do, is to start a civil war and start all this violence. We're hating each other and killing each other and attacking each other. That's what they want. But the positive catalyst, if you can say like, hey, I'm gonna transmute this situation into something positive for me and everyone around me.
right.
That's what
Yeah.
that's what we need to make this, right?
Yeah. I love that. And, it's telling whenever the media, even the media, was like they had these cover stories right out of the gate that were kind of downplaying the whole thing, and like the media was even, falling into that category of laughing and celebrating his death.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe not as obvious, but it's obvious.
Yeah,
Uh,
MSNBC, there was like
right.
people on there saying that he deserved it. He brought it on himself. Or first they said they were like, "Oh, it was probably one of his supporters shooting off a gun in celebration."
Yeah.
Like, what?
Well, and then he was on Robert Shapiro and he was questioning the mainstream media. He's like, I don't know, like, I just want to start asking these questions. Like, I think we should start, is the media being honest with us? Do
Mhm.
you guys always tell the truth? Like, I feel like I have a right to ask these questions. And like, obviously, like, it's like somebody in the military, which I've known this from interviewing whistleblowers, like if you even question what's down that hallway or question even what your orders are, you're no longer trusted with information or your security clearance, and they strip that, you know, they strip
Right.
that clearance. So that's what's happening. That's what happened with him. He's asking questions now. That he was on this political stage, and he was probably playing the exact role they wanted him to play. Somebody probably got to him, fed him some information that forced him to start asking questions because things weren't adding up. And they're like, uh-oh, well, we're losing control of them, you know? And
Mhm.
it's a deep state hit at that point. Now,
Right.
how long has this been planned? I don't know. Because if anybody's seen this show, that Pentaveret on Netflix with Michael Myers, it's about basically celebrities, politicians, musicians, whoever, big names, major influential people being presented with a newspaper article saying, this is what your death is going to look like to the public eye. And um, we're going to remove you, eliminate you from the public eye in this way. And we're going to stage the death, blah, blah. And then you're going to come with us and be brought into this secret society. And they're quite literally living in like a whole other pocket reality here in the show. And they're living out their life and with everything they could ever want, but now their soul belongs to the secret society. While in the public eye, they got to see weeks prior, or weeks or days even prior to their own death, how their death was going to be portrayed to the public, how it was going to happen, and they even got to see the newspaper article. And like, this is what your death is going to look like. The person never died, but they have to live out the rest of their life in hiding in silence and witness protection or whatever it is.
Mhm.
Maybe even not, maybe it's not even their choice. But if you want a perfect example of how that works and how that's planned and how it's laid out, the show is kind of a comedy. It's supposed to be like a comedy making fun of this stuff, but they're telling you the truth. Uh,
And,
um,
and
um,
right, and that's a perfect example. Right, as we know, they're constantly showing us and telling us what really goes on through movies and
right.
shows and different things in the mainstream. Right, they're constantly doing that.
Right. So, I mean, you have to ask yourself, like that person said earlier, about the good actors thing. And there's actually, Charlie's wife posted the Bible verse, Psalm 4.61 or something
Mhm.
like that, 461. And that, the Q drop is what makes, whatever, the good actors thing, right? And
What makes
I have it here somewhere.
you have it? Okay,
Yeah.
like what
Um,
makes a great actor? Um, I forget the second line.
yeah, I have it here. Well, somewhere I have it. But
There were two different things that lined up with the 461 that pointed to that Q post. Actually, I can't. The other one was what was the other? I know there was two different things.
right, I saved
So
so
again, we're
much
getting the
stuff.
Q deltas. We're getting all the just like every time a major event happens, we seem to get all these.
Oh,
You
here
can
it
get
is.
Q deltas and things that
Right.
pop up in that whole realm.
But anyway, so either way, what I'm trying to say is, okay, if this is like if these Q deltas are to be trusted, and at this point it's mathematically impossible that something's not going on, and this was comms in a sense, they
Mhm.
are put out that are telling the people who with the eyes to see, like, hey, we're safe, we're okay. Charlie Kirk's wife posted Psalm 46:1, Intel drop 461, Q drop 461. What makes a good movie? Great
Great
actors.
actors.
Yeah, what makes a good movie? Great actors. So,
There's
what,
another one. There's another one too. So what is it? Dan Scavino Jr. uh tweeted on X 9/10/2025 turning point. So I guess he did that like right after it happened. Right at 11:32 Eastern time. And then if you go to that exact time, uh so again, some of these are a little bit more of a stretch like this one, but
right.
no. It was
But
January 19th, 2020 at right at that time, 11:32 Eastern. Q drop is the shot heard around the world, the Great Awakening, a week to remember. Q.
right. So, I
Shot
mean,
heard
yeah,
around.
there can be some of them are stretches, some of them are like, wow, that's like,
Could be.
how do you explain that, right?
Right.
But bottom line is, we can't rule out the possibility that something like that, some sort of a deal or agreement was already made behind the scenes prior to this, and we might actually have seen a clone get assassinated, right? I mean, it's not
Right.
out of the realm of possibility. I don't want to go there to downplay the whole thing, but like we said at the very beginning, like set emotion aside and let's just analyze this from all perspectives. If one of these narratives is true, if he is still alive, what would that look like? And the death could be staged
Mhm.
and played out with a clone. I mean, it's very possible. Somebody said,
Right.
excuse me, the Dot Connector 7 said not a good movie. It's effed. I mean, yeah, it is kind of like when you look out there and sur view the world
Well,
through this surface level lens, right? It does not look like
yeah.
things are going great. But I think, like I said, the stage is being set for something much greater.
Right. Well, I always bring it back to, um, and this goes for beyond that. This goes for everything that happens ever. Uh, how are you going to use this event? How are you going to react to it? How are you going to what's your response? You know, what's the was it like the Buddha that said like if you're holding a cup of coffee and someone knocks into you and then you spill it, um, and then you spill like why did you spill coffee on that when that person knocked into you? I'm butchering it a little bit, but that's essentially. And the person says, "Oh, because the person bumped into him." And he said, "No, because there was coffee in the cup.
Right,
If there would have been water, you would have spilled water. If there would have been, anything
right,
else, it's like whatever's inside of you is what's going to come out when you're squeezed, when there's pressure, when there's a catalyzing event. And, you're going to feel those emotions, you're going to go through that process, and you can either use it to go to harden yourself and go more down the negative path, or you can use it to become a better version of yourself.
right.
And you can use it as a mirror to be like, oh, this is okay, this is what's happening in the world. Okay, this is the state of things that have been manifested now.
Right.
I get to choose now how to respond to that. I get to choose now what I want to help create in this now moment.
And
And
I
we're all
think
doing that all the time. And something can seem bad. Things can be okay, things are unpleasant, they can seem bad, but everything's a catalyst, right? And everything is happening because there was a reason for that thing happening. And if you can understand that, you can fully be prepared to deal with what is happening and be prepared to help make the world a better place instead of just reacting to everything all the time. We need to get
right,
out of reaction mode. And I think a lot of what's happening, you got to understand there's a spiritual reality that we're in, and there's a spiritual war, and there's a spiritual process taking place through all this, right? And
right.
that is to realize, guess what? We're all one at the end of the day. Things are all happening because of something seemingly negative happens. Sometimes it's just seemingly a random event, right? Even though I don't think anything's random. I think everything happens for an absolutely divine reason. Um, but many things happen because a human being or someone did something because they're at that level of consciousness. Well, if you're at a certain lower level of consciousness, you're going to just probably react to that thing, which is going to cause somebody else at a lower level of consciousness to react to your thing, which is going to cause somebody else to react. And that's how, do you see how this like, do you
Right.
see how nonsensical death and violence and hatred and everything else happens? It's because people are in reaction mode and they're not in a healthy place and they're not at a high enough level of consciousness to take a step back, pause before reacting, and start questioning why do I get triggered in this way when something like this happens, right? Start
Yes.
doing the inner work, and that's what we all need to do. And the more of us that can do that, the more we're going to transform this world quicker. And I think that is a big thing. There's a divine orchestration happening with everything
Right.
happening beyond the
And
white hats and the dark hats and beyond even the ETs and beyond all of that even there's a divine orchestration in my opinion happening where we are all being given an opportunity to go through this fire right now and come out the other end alchemized into turning lead into gold, like becoming the better version of ourselves, getting
yeah,
on a path of
yeah.
service, more service to others, more in the love frequency, right? That's what we're all being given an opportunity to do right now.
Right. And precisely. Well said. I'm so glad you said that because it helps anyone listening. Like it helps ground. I think
Mhm.
it's very grounding information. It allows everyone to take a breath. And what you just said applies to life, not just to
Right.
Charlie Kirk shooting. It applies to life. And I'm fully convinced that everyone right now is. I think that the public reaction and the individual reaction is being gauged somehow in some capacity they're gauging the reaction of the collective consciousness even down to people like us. Maybe there's somebody tuning in tonight to see like where we're at and what how we're sharing how we're covering this information, right?
Hmm.
And I think that we have to keep that in mind. Like sometimes these events play out to see where the collective is at, see what they can get away with, see who's still taking the bait, who's still
Right.
falling for it, who is wise to it, who's never going to fall for it again, who's seeing through it, who's actually approaching this from a healthy perspective. I think that I don't know who it is, the watchers, whatever, but on some higher level, even maybe your higher self, it's all being monitored. And I
Hmm.
think, it's up to you to decide which direction you want to go in life. So, like you said, when you react to something, it creates a ripple that turns into a tidal wave. And
Hmm.
that tidal wave turns into what you see on social media. Like all of the people who just have no control of their emotions and they're just, like a fire hose, right?
Right.
And then, like, people literally, before we even went live on social media, were angry at our thumbnail that we would even question and consider something else. And they were making assumptions based on we didn't even do the video yet. And they were just assuming that we had believed in this or taken this side or whatever it was. And they just angrily vomited in the comment section. And they're just like, I'm like, I wish they could see themselves
Yeah.
from the other side and how
Right.
silly it looks. And most of the time, they're doing exactly what they're accusing you of. But this is like just exactly what proves your point. Like these people are reacting to things that actually didn't even happen, but they've already made up their mind and they're so emotionally charged. The cabal, the dark, they rely on that emotional knee-jerk reaction that they're expecting to get out of
They
people.
they have to have it. They
Right,
they can't
exactly.
they can't do anything that they want to do without that. We're
Right,
the ones actually doing it. We're the
right,
ones that have to create. That's why they have to do they have to get us to fall for the traps. They have to get us manipulated into doing their bidding for them. And that's how the game has always worked with them because
right.
it it's a free will universe. Like they, if they could have just come in and enslaved everyone and boom, done, like they would have done that a long, long time ago, right? Um, and there's supposedly, I'm sure there's ETs that go around to planets and do that. But if you think about it, like if there are negative ETs, like we hear about the reptilians and blah blah blah, well, the invasion happened a long time ago already, and they've been operating, you know, in the shadows, so to speak, but they still like okay, then the question is, well, why didn't they just enslave openly if they could have? Well, maybe they realized, well, if we do that, then at some point our host is going to probably just die off because you can't just if you enslave people openly, they have no more will to live. They have no They're not, you know, they know if you know you're enslaved and you know there's no hope and there's nothing to live for, why would you keep living? Why would you're not gonna give off that loosh energy. You're not gonna produce what they need for you, you know. You're not gonna keep procreating unless, you know, it's different. Like I think our planet has been this kind of like free will planet where it's been like, all right, the dark, you're allowed to like do your thing, but only if humans let you, only if they fall into it. Now, the second they wake up beyond that, you're done. It's like there's this free will going on here where the dark is only being allowed to do what we let it and how we get manipulated into doing their bidding for it. Right. So I think what's happening, I think there's a lot of, you know, on top of that, the energies and the astrology and everything, you know, like this happened just 2 days after a lunar eclipse, right? And that Ukrainian girl, that happened just a few days before the lunar eclipse. So those are two
It's all,
huge
and it's
emotionally charged killings that get everyone riled up right around the time of a lunar eclipse. I don't think
right.
that's a coincidence,
It's all in
right?
the same energetic window. It's not like
Right.
it doesn't have to happen on like the 999 portal, whatever.
Right.
Um,
It's in that window. Right.
so yeah, I mean, their bottom line is the way I see it is we can sit here and beat the dead horse and just cover this from every single angle, go over every details, dissect the footage. At the end of the day, how much of it is really just ultimately a waste of energy? Like
Right.
it's literally like this is could also be looked at as a loosh harvesting event too. Like
Absolutely.
they're looshing off the fear, but they're also looshing off the addiction that people of or have to the internet during periods like this, during times like this. And like, what are you even doing for yourself? Like, I looked into this as much as I had to feel that like I could cover this in a healthy manner tonight, but I'm not going to continue to figure out what actually happened. Like, whatever they want us to know, I mean, if they want us to know, they'll tell us. Like, if I mean, if they want us to believe in something, they're going to put that information out there. There's a reason Trump announced his death because they want us, they want the energy surrounding this event. They want to make it a big politically charged event. But at the end of the day, how much of you're not really doing yourself any service at all by just giving your power away to figuring out the mystery, right? We just have to zoom out and maybe even put it all away and go for a walk or go do whatever you have to do.
Right.
And just remember like this is not where my frequency needs to be. And I think we'll never get to the bottom of it because the waters have been muddied so much to think that you could get to the bottom of it and solve the mystery and figure out what's happening and like why would that
Well,
actually satisfy you? But hang on one second.
there's a point
Yeah,
because, you know, I wouldn't say don't do that at all, but there's a point where you got to ask yourself, how much time am I spending on that?
right. That's what I
And
mean. Yeah,
right, and why and how much of my attention and focus and energy am I putting towards that rather than putting towards focusing on what is aligned with my true purpose and something that's going to be serving me and serving others and building that love frequency, right? If
right.
you're just so focused on purely the information, which I see a lot of like truthers or people in the conspiracy community, whatever you want to call it, they get so in their head all the time. They're so only focused on information and they lose sight of the greater picture and the spiritual, you know, everything that's
Right.
actually way more important than that. And they're like, no, if I can just get all the information right and then go around social media all day, every day, just like posting, making videos, telling everyone why this is the right. And it's like, dude, you're number one, there's gonna be like 12 people actually listening to you on that level that are gonna be, it's like, okay, maybe for a time you can do that, but like at a certain point, you got to ask yourself, like, why am I doing this? Like, what am I getting out of this? What is this helping? How is this help? Is this helping me and others, or am I just doing this for my ego? Right? Because unfortunately, we can fall into that ego trap just like anyone else, where you start being like, oh, I know everything. I know how everything works way more than most people, or way more than you do, and I got to educate everyone else on every little nuance and detail. But then in doing that, you miss the greater picture than that, even if you're 100% right, which pretty much no one is anyway. You're going to be wrong on some stuff anyway.
Right.
Even if you were 100% right, you miss the big picture of like the like love frequency, higher consciousness, higher frequency coming together.
Right.
Um,
Well, and
service to others mode, like
yeah,
living in that is way more important than being right. Like,
yeah.
and that's what just happened with Charlie Kirk is like you see all these people cheer like acting horrifically and cheering it and being happy about his death because of their in that ego space of like, oh well, because I think I'm right and I think he's X, Y, and Z and I think he's causing X, Y, and Z. That makes it okay and that makes it I'm even a good person by acting this way, right? So evil never thinks of itself, or what you could call evil, never thinks of itself as evil. They always think they're the righteous ones, right?
And the same
And
goes,
that's ego. That's when you get in that inflated
right,
ego,
exactly. That's what I was going to
right?
say.
We got to get
The,
out of the ego. You got to get more into the heart. Is
yeah,
what.
the ego never thinks of itself as the ego either.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and you're like, no, that's just who I am, or whatever the case is. But somebody said, I think that these kind of events are for the normies to try and wake them up. So yeah, like it could be absolutely a catalyst for another wave of awakening for people who are just now kind of waking up to the corruption and what's going on here. And like, I'm not saying that we're any better or higher than them or whatever. I just think that, we're all different levels of awareness and different levels of consciousness. And, we were all there once. So we have to understand that people are still going to go through this. And maybe we might look at this stuff and like, come on, guys, it's so obvious. But to somebody who's just now waking up and seeing through this stuff, it's going to be life changing for them to go down
Mhm.
that rabbit hole. So it serves a purpose. The dark always serves a light. And maybe, like I was saying earlier, like some group of people, the puppet masters and some think tank storyboarding the world, maybe the good and the evil are right there next to each other. Or maybe there's like some alliance agents within the group in the think tank. And, they know the plan. And in some cases, they even allow it to play out because they see that, like you said earlier, that would be the better outcome than, let's just say, this or whatever else could play out. So yeah,
Right.
that there's going to be casualties. This person's going to die. Whatever has to happen, but that's the highest timeline. So we'll actually try to persuade them to go with this instead of this. So you never know, like that you have to think on the highest, deepest levels here and what this looks like at the root of the plan, because there is a
Mhm.
plan. It is planned out, it's thought out. I mean,
Yeah.
that was a professional marksman who shot that person from
Um,
200 yards away.
right. 200 yards away, kill shot. Um, you can see the guy. Did you see the video of the guy on the roof? Like you can see a guy laying on the roof. Like that's the sniper. That's
Yeah,
where.
right,
And then it was obvious that like they had their like patsy guy
right,
was he was acting guilty and blah blah blah. But then they're like, oh wait, actually it's not him. But we don't know who it is. We're still looking for
right.
And there's too many things, man. But then the timing, like, oh, right when he starts criticizing Israel and pointing out red flags after being this super pro-Israel, it's like he went from being, they're like, oh, we got this little asset right here that's like keeping people in what we want them to believe about us. Uh-oh, he's starting to turn. What do we do? Do we let him keep speaking or do we take him out, snip that in the bud, take him out now?
Right.
And because they're always weighing like, okay, is taking him out now going to backfire on us more than it's going to save us, or is it going to save us more than it's going to backfire? And they probably thought, no, it's going to save us more because he's a big name. A lot of people trust him. A lot of people listen to him and
And it,
are
and
influenced
it
by
might
him.
allow them, it might open a door for them to basically pursue something that would actually help us in the long run. So,
Right. So I think they nipped it in the bud and they're like, all right, he's speaking at this big event in Utah next. We're gonna make it look like somebody just shot him there, take him out now. I think that's what happened.
so
Or
you
it's a
want,
white hat thing that was state. I don't know.
right.
Anything's possible. Anything's possible. We could be
Well,
wrong about all of this at the end of the day, but at the end, you got to ask questions and you gotta understand what's really going on at the end of the day.
all right.
Uh,
Well, do you want to You want to lighten things up a little bit, change the subject?
Yeah, I would
All
love
right.
to.
So the other night, Lily and I and our friend Katie, we went to Bradshaw Ranch here in Sedona. Everybody knows, if you don't know, Bradshaw Ranch is kind of like Skinwalker Ranch, but
Hmm.
here in Sedona. And one second. We saw a fleet of UFOs, and quite literally a fleet. I don't know if you saw Lily's video. She caught some footage with her night vision, and it's she made a little video, and she just posted it yesterday. It's almost at 50,000 views already. It's kind of going viral, but it's incredible footage. I don't know if you saw it yet.
It,
Did you see it, Aaron?
I
Yeah.
did. It is incredible. It's amazing. Clearly a
So,
fleet.
but what I was thinking, just for the heck of it, and people who haven't seen it, maybe we can. It's only 6 minutes long. If you don't mind, we can just like I'll just screen share and play that video, and
Yeah,
we can
please
watch
do.
it because it's amazing footage. And let me figure this out. Okay, share sound, share what? To share your computer audio. Oh shit. So I have a new computer and it's telling me to. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it. I have to.
Really?
Yep, it's saying to share your computer audio, please install the Zoom audio device. Please restart your audio sharing application, such as the media player, after the install to continue sharing the computer sound. So,
Do you want me to share it?
yeah, if you want, I'm going to stop the share. Yeah, just pull up on YouTube and don't forget to share your sound. And then, yeah, I apparently haven't done a screen share yet on this new computer, so I have to set that up, of course. Um, As somebody said, yeah, I heard your voice in the video, Tyler. It was incredible. So here's the thing. Let me give you a little backstory too. Do you need to, I need to give you permission
Yeah.
to
Okay,
share.
I got the
Share.
video
Okay.
now.
Don't forget to share the sound whenever you share. But here, let me give you a little background. So we went, actually, Lily and Katie, like randomly, were kind of guided to go to Bradshaw. And I wasn't even necessarily feeling it, but I was like, okay, let's go. We went, and there's this guy, Hoodoo Tall. People may know who he is. He's a big Bradshaw Ranch investigator. He was there with one of his friends. And it was the 999 portal. And we got there and we are already immediately having activity. There's like this windmill on the property that like it wasn't even windy, but sometimes it just goes. It's like this portal spot. We were having we were hearing sounds. We were literally having pebbles thrown at us into our little camp circle there. There's only five of us there, like Sasquatch type of activity. We were hearing footsteps. There's some like abandoned homes over there, the ranch itself, and like doors were creaking. We were hearing these thuds and these bangs. I mean, it was very clear something was around us.
That's
And
amazing.
Lily was hearing whoever she was in communication with that night. They kept telling her, "Get your camera ready, get your camera ready." And we saw an entire fleet of craft. It lasted for an hour. This is 6 minutes worth of that footage.
Wow.
It was unbelievable. It was the most impressive thing I've ever seen, and I don't have an explanation for it besides that was either some UFO base, a spaceport, or a portals like area. But go ahead and play. Go ahead and share your screen and play it.
All right. All right. Can you see that?
Yep. Did you share the sound?
Oh, shoot.
Just stop to share.
Um,
And
how do I do that?
so on the right side, it'll say share
Share
sound.
sound. I see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was not a disappointment. It was the most eventful night, and it's definitely an active site.
All right, here we go. Oops. The heck?
All right, maybe not.
All right, maybe not. Hold on.
the
Let me try it. Let me try it again.
Yeah, Lily said the windmill is a portal and antenna. So
I thought
there's
they were fucking with me
There we go.
whenever they said, get your camera ready. I was like, okay.
I don't actually see it on my end there, and let me see what it looks like on the.
3 of them in
Yeah,
formation.
it's not showing up. Stop it.
Holy.
It's not showing
Yeah,
up.
Nope, it's just a black screen with a white line going through it.
Well, I was sharing the browser. Let me just share the whole
Right.
screen
Sorry,
maybe.
guys, this is very anticlimactic, but it's worth
Yeah,
it.
sorry guys.
Uh,
All right. Now, can you see that on the screen?
yes, yes, there we go. Start it
Okay.
over now.
Okay, she's got it circled there. See the 3 crafts?
Yeah, but
All just showed up.
Holy. No, I just watched them all appear
Did you
out of thin air.
get them all on camera?
They're on camera right now.
Wow.
Yes. And we got another one coming up from the mountain. They said get your camera ready. They were not lying. They were not lying. Wow.
Get them as they show up. There's one
look
that
how many
came
things
out.
are moving in the sky right now. It was just a fleet.
Yeah. A lot of
Oh,
them.
there's one coming out.
Whoa, what's happening?
Two down low. Wow.
It's so weird how it just keeps happening.
Yeah,
And they were
it's
showing
just
up and
coming.
disappearing, so it's not a
It's
drone.
spaceport.
They're not drones.
It's a UFO base, spaceport, portal, whatever you want to call it.
A triangle formation. And I watched them appear.
There's another one
Oh
coming.
my god, they said it. They said
Look at
get your
that.
camera ready.
And then one stops and then they passes the other one. Like that happened a couple times. And then I think this part coming up is my favorite one. Right after this, there's another triangle that shows up. And that was a really big one flying by. We don't know. It could have been a space station or something, but it was extremely bright.
I mean, they just keep showing up. Look.
And
Look at that. Yeah, that one's like stopping and he's trying to catch up. Like,
yep, there he is passing
they're
the
gonna
yeah.
connect. You guys had the nudge to come here tonight.
I know.
Yeah, so this one's my favorite.
Look,
We
there's
got
three.
another triangle
There's three.
formation.
No, there's four. Wow, look at that.
Whoa.
5. Oh my gosh, look at all those lights.
That is amazing.
Whoa.
Look without the night vision.
Whoa.
That is amazing.
Camera was on for that too.
They're just.
Oh
they're
my
not sure.
gosh.
They literally are.
Wow.
That is so awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I'm impressed.
Wow. They said they would show up. They said it, and they did. Wow.
Yeah, that one disappeared, and then here comes another one.
Next time, Lily was like, next time I'm bringing a tripod. She was holding the camera for like 30 minutes, like her arms are exhausted. It was
Thanks
just,
for reminding me to look without the night vision.
They were so bright, the three of them.
Yeah. Yeah, whenever I looked away, I was like, oh my god! No, like it's cool in the night vision, but holy, that was crazy and real, like with just the eyes.
So in that shot,
What is going on? But
I thought they were fucking with me whenever they said, get your camera ready. I was like, okay, you know.
and this is kind of like time lapsed. You can just see him. If you want to stop it, you can. We'll let people go to Lily's channel to watch the rest of it.
Yeah, that is incredible.
Yeah, I mean,
That is
The-
impressive.
yeah, it really was. Like, obviously, like, and seeing it through footage on YouTube, it's a lot different than being there. It was just like kind of exhilarating. You're just like, what is happening? Like, how is this happening? You know?
Right.
Um, yeah, just absolutely incredible, I thought.
Yeah.
And
That's
us on top of the activity we had there that was happening on the ground. And I mean, actual pebbles being thrown at us from something.
Bradshaw. Yeah, I believe it. That
Right,
place usually has a lot of activity. Yeah.
right.
Um, and if you want to know more about Bradshaw, I know Tom Dongo has done extensive research and work on documenting stuff at that ranch. He has books on it.
Yeah,
Um,
we interviewed him
we interviewed him a few years
while
ago.
back. While back, we might have brought it up a little bit in the interview.
I think he did. Yeah.
Yeah, which is one of his. He hasn't done many interviews since we did that. The only reason he agreed to do the interview is because of Zaysan. Like him and Zaysan are friends, and
Right.
Zaysan kind of talked him into it. But he doesn't really do many interviews much. I'm in Sedona, been trying to meet up with him in person, but he doesn't really get out much. He's in his 80s.
He's kind of like retired at this
Yeah,
point, and once in a while he'll pop out and do something, but very rarely. Um, but yeah, he's in his 80s now, so he's kind of retired for the most part.
right. Yeah,
But
Jock.
he's spent decades. He's got books. He's been coast to coast like I don't know how many times. He's
Right.
done
So
conferences,
yeah,
tons of
and
stuff.
then the Hoodoo Tall guy, that's not his real name, but that's what he goes by. It's his handle on YouTube and social media. He is also he's done documentaries on Bradshaw. He's an
Mhm.
investigator, and when I was talking to him, he was friends with John Lear. He has tons of information about
Mhm.
like on our level, kind of as far as he understands the space programs and what's going on with all that, but like
Yeah,
the bigger picture, and he's got incredible footage and just an endless library of things to talk about. So he
Mhm.
agreed to do an on-site interview. So not this
Nice.
coming week, but next week, I'm going to go back to Bradshaw Ranch with him. We're going to set up a camera. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to interview him and maybe even see if we can get some footage and stuff like that. So stay
That's
tuned for
incredible.
that. It's going to be, I'm really looking forward to it. And while we have you guys here, I just want to first of all thank everybody for coming here today, and going to remind everybody that if you would like to join us in Hawaii, are still tickets available. There's not many tickets left. It's a smaller event, so if you want to come, you can find all the information at journeytotruth.online. We're going to be going to some sacred sites, doing some dolphin and ocean adventures, whales, whatever I'm trying to say, and getting out on the boat, getting on the water. There's some amazing presenters, and it's just gonna be like a vacation slash conference to Hawaii, and it's gonna be very activating. So if anybody wants to come, you can go grab a ticket at journeytotruth.online. And is there any other announcements that we need to make? Our Secret Space Program documentary is well underway at this point, and it's coming along. Very excited about it. We're gonna pitch it to Apple TV, Amazon Prime, and I have a phone call with somebody tomorrow. We're trying to make some connections to try and make this thing much bigger than just a free YouTube release because it deserves to get out there. And we've been filming for a couple of years now, and it's all coming together. So stay tuned for that as well. And can't do this without you guys. We love you so much. Thank you for all the
Love you
support.
all so much,
Yeah. And Aaron, do you have any last
guys.
words before we wrap this up?
Love you all so much. Thank you all for joining. And yeah, just stay in love, stay in your heart.
Well, there you
And
go.
anything that no matter what happens on the world stage or in the world, um, let it bring you closer to love, closer to um, your true self, and closer to uh, connecting with others and being in service to others rather than division and animosity and all of that nonsense. Because that's what the dark wants. You're falling right into the trap if you do that.
So
Keep the opposite
stay in love, and don't forget to have fun too.
and
You
have
know,
fun. Yes, if you're not having
it's
fun, you're probably off track.
right. Not saying you have to have a fun 100% of the time, but
No,
don't forget to find the
but
joy in life, because it's out
if
there. It's out there,
if
but
for
it's not on your phone or computer. It's out in the
I,
real world.
if the majority of the time you're not feeling like you're grateful to be alive and you're on you're doing what you're meant to be doing, it's time to reassess, and it's time to start living from your joy and living from your heart space. And that's
Absolutely.
how you can stay there rather than staying in your head and doing things you think you're supposed to be doing rather than what you truly genuinely want to be doing in your life. And the more of us that can get to that place, the more of a world we're going to manifest that reflects that, right?
Yeah,
So that's what we need
absolutely.
to do.
Well said. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you got something out of this. I know we cover some crazy stuff here and consider some crazy possibilities. So thank you for sticking with us through all that, and just trying to understand this from a higher perspective. And that's all we're trying to do. So if you want to join us in Hawaii or anything else we offer is all on our website, journeytotruth.online. Aaron and I both have books out. We have a Patreon where we have exclusive content. So that's it. I guess we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Good night, everybody. We love you. And until next time, have a great evening.
Good night, guys.